What do you see out there, Steve? Looks like a boat coming in. You ready to go out the door? Come on. Did you look at the thermometer or something? Is that why we're hesitating here? Come on, let's go. It's time to go. Steve, what are you doing? What are you doing? Feeling the love. You don't seem to be in the game this morning. Rex, of course, is in the game. Let's go. Out the door. What is that? Kind of cool looking rig. Let's check the thermometer. 28 degrees, 8:23, January 19th. Steve has decided to join us. Very good. Not as cold as the last couple mornings, but it's going to get colder again. Ice bucket, solid. Let's go here and check out what's going on. So we've got the air coming from the north, warmer air coming from the north. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? Yesterday we had colder air coming from the south. That's a blocking pattern. What do we have here? Always something. There's Howe's Neck in Quincy, the financial district in Boston in the background, and a long barge. Looks like some kind of pumping system or something, work barge that does not have an engine. It's being pushed along with a, I guess, is it called a tugboat when it's in the rear end pushing? Anyhow, so the sky is all gray, and it's actually snowing from that layer of stratus clouds. Probably going to hear the word Virga a lot today, tomorrow. Virga is precipitation coming out of the cloud and evaporating before it reaches the ground. We have the cloud is a saturated 100% relative humidity layer, but beneath the cloud we have dry air, and above the cloud there is very dry air. It's difficult to make a storm when you have dry air. Do we even call this a storm? Let's look at the surface map. 3 low pressure systems to our south, and a huge area of blue, huge area of snow for Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia today. Not that many black lines or isobars over New England, but look to our north. North of New England, you can just make it out here. I'll go to tonight. It's a little more clear. There's a warm front coming at us from the north tonight, with all those black lines being isobars. A huge high pressure system off to our west, and that's going to build to our west and south. So why is this system missing us? Let's go to the really huge image of the Atlantic Ocean. Look at that bowing cloud stretching from Labrador, Canada to almost the shores of Ireland, and then south back to south of the Bahamas. That is our storm from 3 days ago now that has stalled on the Labrador coast, sending the front across the Atlantic, but the center of the low is still in North America. Just amazing, huge, sprawling low. And it's ingested last Saturday's storm that we talked about backed all the way to Hudson Bay, has now been ingested by our Tuesday storm. Now, that last Saturday storm backed all the way to Hudson Bay, Canada. And when that backed to Hudson Bay, Canada, that allowed an avenue for our Tuesday storm to run north and get us. Enough north to get rain at my house. Anyhow, the difference with this one is this storm is now stalled over Labrador, further east. So its impact and upper level flow, which I really don't have time to really get into, is causing this storm to be deflected off to our south. It is going to power up when it turns north, and that's really going to tighten up the pressure gradient and cause wind chill this weekend. Coldest weekend we've had since the first week of February last winter. Hopefully we don't match that. So where do I start? All right. What about the immediate sky? Here's the radar. You can see some snow trying to fall out of the clouds. Oh, first of all, it is snowing this morning. Another foot of snow at Jay Peak in the last 24 hours, getting us to 38 inches since last Sunday. Just amazing. It defies description. It's just the J cloud. Let's just call it the J cloud. And It's snowing again today. It's the 15th day in a row with snow. And we are going to get snow in southern New England. So I want to show you the really high resolution 3-kilometer NAM. It's amazing. It shows the synoptic scale overrunning snow coming at us from the southwest. And now I'm going to really slow this down. At noontime, a little blob shows up in Boston. And 1, 2 o'clock, it's expanding. 3 o'clock, getting close to the Cape Cod Canal. 4 o'clock, going right over your house, Chuck, in South Dennis. 5 o'clock to Nantucket. 6 o'clock, dissipated. Look at that again. This is a real mesoscale, small scale ocean effect cloud and little trough coming down along eastern Massachusetts shores with a burst of moderate to heavy snow for a very short time beneath the widespread very light snow, the other blue across most of the rest of southern New England this afternoon. About 5 or 10 years ago, the guidance never would have been able to get that. It's just a really fine-tuned weather model. So it's going to drop a quick inch or two of snow all that way down Route 3 and 3A right during the evening commute. And are you going to be there with me? I think I'm going to chase this one. And anyhow, that's not it. That's not the rest of the rest of the story. The rest of the story, let's continue on a little wider scale, still with the NAM. What's going to happen? I'll show you the same thing again, but on a wider scale. There's that, I call it backdoor warm front coming down from the north. It's going to generate more snowflakes on Sunday and Monday. And we're not going to really see the warmth from that. So there's some snow in the air again Sunday and some more ocean effect on Cape Cod. So it's kind of a cold, snowy weekend. Not heavy snow, though, just heavy cold. Backdoor warm front? What's a backdoor warm front? Here it is on the surface analysis. That storm from 3 days ago. There's that backdoor warm front right there. The red line coming south. Warmer air wrapping all the way around that storm from the central Atlantic Ocean into eastern Canada and down toward New England. But by the time it gets here, it's going to be turned into a cold front because the cold coming in from the west, it's 25 to 30 below zero again in Montana. And that's a huge sprawling high pressure system. And there it is moving to the east, and it takes over all of the eastern United States over the weekend with those little orange dashed lines in the northeast. Those little orange dashed lines are surface troughs that just try and keep it snowing here and keep it cold. Let's go to the Boston 3 to 5 weather.us meteogram. The red line is the temperature. Not even getting to 20 tomorrow with some sun and some snow at the same time and in the air. And the blue line is the dew point. The dew point is going to 0, and that is very dry air, and that's why we're not going to have a big storm. Very dry air. Who is going to get the snow? Let's go to the snow accumulation maps here. Just a dusting for most of southern New England, a couple inches in eastern Massachusetts, maybe a few spots get 4. It's really Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Chesapeake Bay, snowfall this weekend. Areas that have not seen very much snow in the last few years. All right, so that's this weekend. Cold, too cold. The skiing is going to be tremendous, but it's going to be windy. Oh, yeah, that Boston map again, once again. I'll show you what the wind does. The wind is sustained at 15 to 20, gusting to 25 to 30 this weekend. That's Boston. And our higher elevations, it is just going to be frigid. The tops of the mountains this weekend, by the way, are going to be sub-zero, and the wind's going to be going 30, 40 miles an hour. So just think about that. Heated everything, right, Carl? Heated everything. Plug in your boots, plug in your gloves, plug in your mittens, plug in your socks, plug in your pants, plug in your what else do you plug in? Plug in hats. Plug in your helmet. It's going to be cold. You get the point. Sorry. All right. And then next week is a huge challenge. All the guidance came in colder yesterday for next week. And it's the huge challenge because next week, our air in southeastern Canada is going to be coming from the North Pole, and our air just south of New England is going to be coming from the Gulf of Mexico. Storms coming on the west coast are going to split. Half of them are going to go towards Alaska, where we talked about 50 below yesterday for Alaska coming up. Big blizzards coming back to Alaska. And each one of these lows now coming at us is going to have to deal with that cold coming in from the north. So it's going to be a mixture of rain and snow, probably leaning towards snow even in southern New England on Tuesday. Did I have to slow down and rewind? I think I did. Slow down and rewind. Tuesday, rain and snow coming at us. Snow rain line kind of far south. And then on what's going to happen next Thursday, Friday, Saturday is really interesting. The models are definitely waffling on what's going to be in control, the cold or the warm. Let's just call it a mixture of snow at the Canadian border, even rain possible there, and mostly rain, maybe snow near the south coast, off and on Thursday, Friday, Saturday next week, and then new colder air trying to come at us. I'm talking Arctic cold after that in about 10 days or so. So really an extraordinary period of weather we're having. I've mentioned it so many times, rivaling January 1996, then going into February 1978, sorry. And the snow 2014 and 15, that was our last really extreme snowy winter. And there's still plenty of time for snow. Boston's running pretty close to average for this month, and Mount Washington now is passing 65 inches of snow in the last 18 days so far in January. Just amazing. All right, the animals want to go in. My fingers are freezing, and more. A little time lapse of a tanker going by yesterday, and what else? The snow sky and a crow standing impossibly on a thin branch. All right, you kids, we're going in now. Talk to you again tomorrow. Am I going to do a snowcast today? Maybe if I have time. Might stop by Blue Hill. Blue Hill is open. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Bye. Calandria. A lot of action lately. Very low tide. So this thing must be feet from the bottom. They draw like 30 feet. I guess this channel is 60 feet deep, even at low tide. Anyhow, time for a time lapse again. Increasing clouds, thickening sky, lowering and thickening. The storm may actually miss us to the south. We wanted a storm to go south of us to get snow up here. Now the block is going to cause this one to be too far south. And off. I'm not sure actually if it's going to St. John. I'm a little confused on that. Anyway, we got something going on across the street. Oops, we're attached to a tripod here. So that's Bailey, and it's just a total iceberg. So he had to slow down and put it in four-wheel drive, I think, to get up that hill. We'll go look at that a little bit later. Yep. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. Clouds are lowering and thickening. Probably have a halo this afternoon. We made it above freezing, so the road's not really that bad up here. Just one lane. All that treatment really helped. That chloride, it lowers the freezing point of water. That's how that works. It doesn't hurt. We had a little sun, definitely a snow sky. You can see the sky is thickening and falling. And it's above freezing. That didn't hurt either. So we had one sub-freezing day in a row. Maybe a couple more coming in this weekend. All right, that's good for the Enmore, I guess. Once we see some wild things up here. I guess we go up here, sure, Rex, why not? You got 4-paw drive. It's more crunchy in the snow. Better off where you didn't shovel snow. Even though I can't get up here. Yep, I'm up. All kinds of prints up here. Definitely have been coyotes around. A lot of coyote threats, sightings, and even Nathaniel's dog was cornered by one last week in Cohasset. Coming from in here, no human prints. Pretty much positive that this is a coyote coming through here. Really marking too. Really marking. T-Rex is very interested in the markings. Then it continues on in that direction. So we'll go in this direction. Good thinking. All right, my final and more is out this car door. You see that bird up on that branch? It's a crow. It's talking to all of the crows. And look what he's balancing on. This tiny branch. It's going to be a 1/4 inch in diameter. That's just magic. He's not even like moving or anything. Just sitting there. Look at me, look at me. So cool. Did I ever tell you how much power lines irritate me, except for the fact that they bring power? I hear you. Where are all your buddies? By the way, this is a classic snow sky. As a matter of fact, it looks like it is snowing from the cloud. It's called Virga. Precipitation evaporating before it reaches the ground. And I want to describe it to you, but I've got a series of cars coming right now. So I'll just back up a little and show you the sun. Kind of behind the layers of ice crystals. And this is it for Iron and More today. The snow should be reaching the ground overnight, but we have dry air below the clouds. That's why the flakes evaporate. A crow and Virga. Virga. And more and more and more. Traffic, that is.